is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The government says still no to free movement of people under CARICOM and the CSME. The opposition slamming the government's flip-flop on NIB. And we are talking about the Bahamas Crisis Center's anti-violence campaign. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's today. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, March 11th. This is Morning Blend, our 3001st show here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, DeAndre Cartwright will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we are taking a deeper look at the budget. We're getting deeper into that in our 9 o'clock hour. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the government's flip-flopping on the increase in the National Insurance Board's rate. Troubling and shameful, the words of opposition leader Michael Pintard, hours after Minister of Immigration and National Insurance Alfred Sears announced on Thursday that the NIB rate was going to increase by 1.5 percentage points starting in July and will increase by 1.5 percentage points every 2 years until 2044. The Office of the Prime Minister said no decision has been made beyond the July 1st increase. Well, Pintard asking, quote, what minister is going to leave cabinet without the sanction of cabinet and announce something at that level? It's just not possible. It is not believable for the Prime Minister to suggest anything other than he was authorized to do so, meaning Sears. Pintard continuing, quote, he simply does not have a well-considered position. Sears' announcement coming during the 2023-2024 mid-year budget debate in the House. But hours later, the OPM saying that an actuarial review of the NIB recommended increase, those recommendations were repeated by Sears, but these continued rate increases would be required in a worst-case scenario. A decision has yet to be made beyond the initial 1.5% announced to commence July 1st. Pintard says it's clear that the government is not focused. While Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley has said CARICOM heads of government are expected to meet this month to sign off on arrangements to facilitate the free movement of CARICOM nationals, Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell making it clear that the Bahamas will not be included in that initiative. In a statement over the weekend, Mitchell saying the Bahamian public is reminded that the Bahamas is not part of the Caribbean single market and economy, and therefore the free movement of people does not apply to the Bahamas. He said, quote, there has been no change in the policy or our treaty arrangement since that time. The comments being circulated attributed to the Prime Minister of Barbados do not apply in any way to the Bahamas. Mottley is the lead head of the government with responsibility to CSME, speaking at the press conference of the 46th regular meeting of the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Georgetown, Guyana last month. She said that the heads of government will meet on the 15th of March with the hope they can sign off on the deadline given in Trinidad of the 31st of March for the full freedom of movement of people. Again, the Bahamas, not a party to that. And Minister of National Security Wayne Munroe assuring members of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force that the government will not take any hasty actions to endanger their lives as the RBDF prepares for possible deployment to Haiti. Munroe, speaking at the Defense Force's annual church service at Mount Nebo Union Baptist yesterday, saying that the Prime Minister is on his way to Jamaica to meet other CARICOM leaders as they seek to divine a way to seek to assist in returning peace and tranquility to Haiti. He said, quote, "I can assure members of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, who the Commodore has put on notice, that you will be the instrument of this country in providing assistance. The Prime Minister takes the matter seriously. Rest assured that there will be no hasty actions, there will be no impetuous designs, and that we will ensure that any terms of engagement are not only reasonable and logical, but as safe as can possibly be for the serving men and women of the RBDF." Well, the Bahamas has committed to send 150 Defense Force troops to Haiti as part of the United Nations peacekeeping mission. It's unclear when the mission will begin. Overseas, from Haiti, the U.S. military is saying that it has flown in forces to beef up security at the U.S. embassy there and allow non-essential personnel to leave. The aircraft flew to the embassy compound, meaning that the effort involved helicopters. It was careful to point out that no Haitians were on board the military aircraft. The neighborhood around the embassy in the capital, Port-au-Prince, is largely controlled by gangs. In many cases, non-essential personnel can include the families of diplomats, but the embassy had already ordered departure for non-essential staff and all family members in July. Haiti's embattled Prime Minister, meanwhile, Ariel Henry, traveling recently to Kenya to push for the UN-backed deployment of a police force from the East African country to fight the gangs. But a Kenyan court ruled in January that such a deployment would be unconstitutional. Henry, who's facing calls to resign or form a transitional council, remains unable to return home. He arrived in Puerto Rico on Tuesday after he was unable to land in the Dominican Republic, which borders Haiti. On Saturday, the Office of Dominican President Luis Abinader issuing a statement saying that Henry was not welcome in the Dominican Republic for safety reasons. The Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti, has closed its land border. The statement describing the security situation in Haiti as, quote, "totally unsustainable," and said that it poses a direct threat to the safety and stability of the Dominican Republic. The statement predicted that the situation could deteriorate even further if a peacekeeping force is not implemented urgently to restore order. Caribbean leaders have called for an emergency meeting today in Jamaica on what they called Haiti's dire situation. They've invited the United States, France, Canada, the United Nations, and Brazil to the meeting. Members of the CARICOM regional trade bloc have been trying for months to get political actors in Haiti to agree to form an umbrella transitional unity government. CARICOM said Friday that while regional leaders remain deeply engaged in trying to bring opposition parties and civil society groups together to form a unity government, the stakeholders are not yet where they need to be. In February, Henry agreed to hold a general election by mid-2025, and the international community has tried to find some foreign armed force willing to fight gang violence there. CARICOM has also pushed Henry to announce a power-sharing consensus government in the meantime, but the Prime Minister is yet to do so, even as Haitian opposition parties and civil society groups are demanding his resignation. Henry, a neurosurgeon, was appointed as Haiti's prime minister after the July 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. In sports, local swimmers enduring a difficult season at home with there being no 50-meter pool to compete or train in. Nonetheless, the junior swimmers have persevered, and now some of them will reap the rewards as the Bahamas Aquatics Federation ratifying a 36-member team that will represent the Bahamas at the 2024 CRIFT Aquatics Championships. That regional junior meet set for right here in Nassau, March 28th through April 7th at the Betty Kelly Kenning National Swim Complex. The swimming team's going for a 6th straight title after picking up their 5th straight in Curacao last year. The 36-member squad is headlined by veteran CRIFTA swimmers and last year's captains Marvin Johnson and Renishka Gibbs. It also features the 2023 CRIFTA High Point winners in the 11 to 12 girls, Celeste Gibson, and 11 to 12 boys, David Singh. Read all about the team members in today's Guardian Sports section. And Bahamian collegiate athletes Terrence Jones and Denisha Cartwright turning in exceptional times, highlighting performances from Bahamians at the 2024 NCAA Division I and Division II Indoor Track and Field Championships over the weekend. Jones and teammate Antoine Andrews helped the Texas Tech Red Raiders to a national championship title. On the men's side of the track and field, the track at New Balance in Boston, Massachusetts. For Jones, he was a double national champion as he won the 60 meters and 200-meter races. 60-meter dash final saw Jones running in a field featured Bahamian Wanya McCoy as well from the University of Florida Gators. Jones running a strong race and then pulling away from the pack to repeat as a 60-meter champion with a time of 6.54 seconds. Read more about how Bahamians are doing in today's Guardian Sports section. And by now you've heard it, SAC winning its 4th straight BAISS title. It took over an hour and after the 3-day meet ended before the results were ready, though, creating a nervous moment for athletes and spectators. When the dust settled, the SAC, the St. Augustine's College Big Red Machine, declared the victors of its fourth consecutive BAISS Track and Field Championships title on Friday. Coming second was Queens College. Got all the scores in today's Guardian Sports section. And from the NFL, Russell Wilson is heading to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback has agreed to sign a 1-year deal with the Steelers. That's according to a person familiar with the details, speaking to the Associated Press on Sunday night, speaking on condition of anonymity because the contract hasn't been finalized. But the person said Wilson will receive the veteran's minimum of $1.21 million, while the Denver Broncos pay the remainder of his $39 million salary. Wilson posted his intentions on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, saying, quote, year 13, grateful Steelers. The 35-year-old Wilson was 11-19 in 2 seasons with the Broncos after being acquired in a trade from Seattle. He bounced back from a dreadful 2022 season and threw 3,070 yards, 26 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions, but still lost his job to Jared Stidham after going 7-8 in Coach Sean Payton's first season last year. Wilson led Seattle to 8 playoff appearances and a Super Bowl title in 10 seasons with the Seahawks. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Hey, first weather for today. First, a good weather for today. We've got a fast-moving cold front that's going to trek swiftly across the central and southeast Bahamas through tonight. A high-pressure system supporting a moderate to fresh breeze, and a drier air mass is building over the islands. Beachgoers, though, should be alert for possible rip currents along north and northeasterly beaches. Your forecast for today for the northwest and central Bahamas, partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and mild, with a passing shower mainly near the front, becoming fair and cool tonight. Smokehouse should exercise caution. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, falling 10 to 15 knots tonight in the northwest Bahamas. North to northeast at 15 to 20 knots in the central Bahamas. Seas 4 to 6 feet, slightly higher along Atlantic exposures. For the southeast Bahamas today, mostly sunny and warm, becoming partly cloudy, mild and breezy with isolated showers tonight. Smokehouse caution comes into effect behind the front. Winds light and variable, becoming north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots after the front passes. Seas 1 to 3 feet, but building to 4 to 6 feet behind the front. Temperature-wise today, right now in Nassau, we are at about 74 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Look for highs getting up to the upper 70s today, around 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Simplify landings at an easier way. Writing your tomorrow, starting today. Simplify lending for simplified living. Tuition, vacation, or a home redo. Simplify lending's here for you. Simplify lending for simplified living. Simplify lending for simplified living.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Around the world, Cleveland Clinic is recognized as a leader in healthcare. Our team of experts relentlessly pursues the best for our patients. From groundbreaking cancer research to state-of-the-art heart surgery, life-saving innovations happen here every day. When it's time to travel for your health, it's time to travel to Cleveland Clinic. Your destination for care, for every care in the world. To learn more, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Deandra Cartwright. Deandra, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. Great to have you with us.
Happy to be here as always.
You sound very chipper today.
Listen, I have triple shots in my coffee.
Oh, is that what it is? You should have brought a couple.
And then also tomorrow's my birthday.
Right.
So yay!
Happy birthday. You're going to be, what, 24, 25?
You know what? I love that, Dwight.
Okay,
I adore you right now. This is great. Guys, that's how I need you to talk. Talk to me like that. I love that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we hope you have a wonderful time.
Well, I'm here, so it's already starting.
This is part of your birthday celebrations.
Exactly, 48 hours of
if
celebration.
only the other co-hosts would talk like this when they're here for their birthdays.
Listen. Let's not compare.
Right.
We all love you in our own way.
Seem to be burdened, even though I'm rarely here for my birthday. But that doesn't mean anything.
Well, there were plans to not be here, and those kind of, didn't happen. But nonetheless, I will be still traveling at some point.
All right.
So
good.
next Monday, people will not hear my voice.
Well,
And
thank
maybe
you
a
for
couple
celebrating
Mondays
your
after.
pre-birthday with Morning Blend. We appreciate it.
I wanted to be here also for the 3001st.
There you go.
Episode.
Look at that.
Starting off the next half.
Boy, I tell you.
Ready for the next 3,000, Dwight?
That's all I can say.
I believe in you. Another 12 years, you'll
my
be like
goodness.
what? 30,
140.
Pardon me?
I'll be 140.
I know
after
your
12
wisdom
years.
goes in those years, obviously,
okay.
right? But we're talking about the reality here. You're a young man. You've been doing this for a while. So another 3,000.
Cannot count that high to tell you how old I'll be.
No.
Can't count that high. But we'll see. We'll see. But thank you for being here. And thank you for being here last week, Friday, for the big celebration.
No,
And
it
I'm
was
looking forward. Yeah, it was
fantastic.
a lot of fun.
I had fun. That was like beautiful to have Kessa here, Laverne in by, and we're going to get, I can't wait to meet Laverne. And then Chester also.
Yeah.
So it was great. And then ironically, I bucked into Stephen. I was like, Stephen, where were you? I saw him on the weekend.
Yeah.
I was like, where were you?
He's a busy man.
Yeah, and then we had a conversation about backyard farming and how we can actually start. Stephen, I want to see the progress on the tomatoes, okay?
Excellent.
Right. Apparently he didn't believe that I know how to farm a little bit. I'm like, I know I look polished, but I am an island girl.
Well, there you go. All right, wonderful stuff. And yeah, the celebrations don't end because we are marching toward our 12th anniversary in just a few days, actually. April 10th is very close. And so the whole station will be celebrating 12 years.
That's very good.
And, yeah. All right, so that's all ahead. Today on the show, though, we are talking with the Bahamas Crisis Center about their anti-violence campaign, and we'll get details about that. And then later in business, we're talking about the mid-year budget. The debate continues, and we'll get deeper into that this morning. That's all ahead, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, I wish I could say it's maybe a Gen Z or millennial thing or something. Why people didn't know about this, but I got a number of that voicemail that was going around over the weekend about somebody talking about Mia Motley and CARICOM and the CSME, and people like panicking about the Bahamas and secretly signing this. Like, what are you talking about? You know that it's almost 2 decades now that we signed. We said we were not going to be a party of this.
Literally,
it was
as
a
a country,
huge debate.
Reiterate that every chance that we can get.
But the people are so distrusting of our leaders. But
I mean,
it's
the thing
very
about
strange.
it is for persons to be distrusting, there has to have been some breach of said trust at some point in history, right?
Oh, boy.
So technically, a precedent would have been set, and not necessarily by any one administration. The reality is once as you hold a position in leadership and that position has been breached in some way, then the people are going to feel some type of way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I
You think that's what it is? or people just not paying attention.
I mean,
they just
that's also
love
part
to
of
get
it.
worked up and love to get angry.
So a part of that is beyond the whole breach of trust thing. Then you also have the fact that we're very dramatic people. We want something to talk about. We want something to think about, or something rather to argue about without actually trying to do the research behind it. Because then that leads us to number 3. Did we actually know about that? Do we actually understand what it means to be a member of CARICOM? Do we even know what is Chagaramas? Do we even know what that agreement looks like?
All right, so maybe that's it, because this was a while back, in early 2000s, and maybe some people forgot. But like I said, it was, if it were millennials and Gen Zs who were saying this to me, I could maybe understand, because they might be too young to remember. But these were people older than me who are asking about this. I'm like, how could you forget?
We forget. No, then there's number 5.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, there's more. Utter ignorance,
boy.
preferred ignorance. You know, they say ignorance is bliss. So it's almost like if it can suit the narrative that I prefer to discuss or say, then I'm going to pretend like I don't know anything about that.
Wow, that's very dangerous.
No, it is very dangerous, but we live with that reality almost every day. Like there are certain, I remember encountering this like way back in the day, like way back when I started the activism thing. And literally I had a conversation with a particular person who was in a position of leadership. We were discussing the finer details of a particular matter, and literally the next day they went into public and pretended that they know nothing.
Oh, that happens.
And I was like, you can't be serious.
Yep.
And I was like,
but
no,
as you said, to suit the narrative, they'll say a lot of things. So here is, again, if you missed it, this is the official position of the Bahamas, almost 20 years now, I think. The Bahamas still says no to free movement of people under CARICOM. Our Candia Dame's writing about it today in The Guardian. While Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley has said CARICOM heads of government are expected to meet this month to sign off on arrangements to facilitate the free movement of CARICOM nationals, Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell is making it clear that the Bahamas will not be included in that initiative. In a statement over the weekend, Mitchell saying, quote, the Bahamian public is reminded that the Bahamas is not a part of the CARICOM single market and economy, the CSME, and therefore the free movement of people does not apply to the Bahamas. There has been no change in the policy of our treaty arrangements since that time. The comments being circulated, attributed to Prime Minister of Barbados, do not apply in any way to the Bahamas. Now, the CARICOM leaders are expected to meet this month to fully ratify this part of their CSME plan. Speaking at a press conference of the 46th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government in CARICOM in Guyana last month, she said heads of government will meet on the 15th of March with the hope that they can sign off in time for the deadline given in Trinidad for the 31st of March for the full freedom of movement of people. In 2005, folks, 2005, a national debate raged on the CSME, particularly with respect to the free movement of people. Mitchell announced in Parliament that the Bahamas would not sign the revised Treaty of Chagaramas, which established the CSME. The Christie administration had repeatedly said that if it signed the revised treaty, it would seek reservations on the free movement of people, the monetary union, the Caribbean Court of Justice at the appellate level, and the common external tariff. But there was a great deal of pushback from various quarters, leading to the then government abandoning the effort. At the time, Mitchell told Parliament there is a clear disconnect between the government and the wider community on the matter. The Bahamas has remained a member of CARICOM in accordance with the terms and conditions that existed immediately prior to the entry into force of the revised treaty. All those things we don't do, right? We don't have the free movement of people. We don't have the monetary, the common monetary union there. We don't have the Court of Justice. And
we don't use ECC.
No.
We do not use the Caribbean Court of Justice. That's why we still keep going back to the Privy Council.
Yep.
And then beyond that, we don't have the external tariff, the tax or whatnot. So it's not just the freedom of movement of folks, of people, right? There are other elements of it. The thing about it is that if you do a comparative analysis to like regional and sub-regional groups that exist, do you know that outside of CARICOM, our fellow Caribbean countries actually have other entities that they're a member of so they can do what they wish? Like, we need to actually look into that we're not even a part of. So we need to go look further from CARICOM to see what they're doing down there, because they're not, I would say that we don't all enjoy the same things. And then also we're talking about the geographical technicalities, the realities that may only impact those that are lower down, because geography does impact it. I mean, this is what they say on the topical side of things, but this thing goes deep, Yeah. And honestly, if we signed on to the initial treaty and not the revised, we have to pay attention to those details, because there are so many other details we should be paying attention to.
Possible benefits.
Now look, look where you go and watch these phones start lighting up, talking about benefits of going on to the revised. You just read in 2005 they was trying to talk about it, and then the public
maybe not
down.
those, maybe not those, but there might be other things.
No, listen, for those 4 things, you cannot come to the people now and say, okay, we haven't done this in about 20 years, but maybe successive administrations have literally gone in every public forum so many different times to say that our country will not be signing on to these things, will not accept these things. And that's successive administration. So you can't have one party saying one thing and the other party, because they both have said these things at the same time. And then if we actually take a step back and look at it from an economic standpoint, I think this was a part of the 2005 talks, and even beyond there, like, how would it look for the Bahamian currency to now be, equated in some way to what the rest of the Caribbean may use?
Well, I'm sure the Bahamian people would only go along with that if they would all bring theirs on par with ours to the U.S. dollar.
It's almost impossible.
See, well, there you go. That's why it wouldn't work at all.
No, you literally have to look at it from an economic standpoint. It is near impossible.
Right.
Our dollar is only where it is.
Barely.
I was just looking at the exchange. I was doing something online where I was looking at the exchange rate, and I'm like, okay, so $1 is equal to 0.95 American. Right? And we're literally only there because of an arrangement. We're literally only there because of it. We talk about our dollar being, we need to really examine why things are the way they are. Like, I love it. I am not an economist, but I love learning about money and things like that. And it's it's so fascinating.
It's quite complex.
Did you know a couple of years ago, I feel like when the PLP was last in power, they were having a conversation about introducing the yen into the local economy. And people actually let that go over their heads.
Who was having this conversation?
Oh, goodness. I don't want, should I call that name or whatnot? Because they actually said it.
Was anyone taking it seriously?
No, it was in the newspaper, because this person announced it at a business forum, I think, of some sorts. And I was reading it and I was following it. I was like, is nobody actually concerned about this? Do we know how much the yen is actually valued at the time, and versus the American dollar versus the Bahamian dollar versus any dollar, really? And I'm like, and this was actually being proposed, and I was like, I want to read more about it. And then we heard nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing afterwards. I was like, okay, so it got shut down because, I was concerned myself.
Find me that article. I need to read that. But okay, let's get your reaction to this, though. So again, stressing it, we've not signed on to the CSME. No need for the panic that we were seeing. People saying this around. People asking questions, all losing their mind. Do you get it? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259, or call us toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Okay, we've got some text messages here. Okay, please tell Deandra happy birthday. My son wanted to say that tomorrow tomorrow is also his birthday, so happy birthday shout out to my son Edward as well. That's a text.
Happy pre-birthday, Edward, to my birthday twin.
Edward, okay. Did you see the show where Mr. Bain, who are they talking about there? Is that Lincoln Bain they're talking about? Where he informed his supporters that the Bahamas did sign on to the CSME? No, I didn't, and thank goodness I didn't. If you believe that the Bahamas wasn't going to sign off on that and you need coffee, it's just pushback from the Bahamian people that changes things. No, y'all need to stop. This was 20 year ago pushback that did that, and we haven't changed.
But I mean, that's an important point. Like, clearly, if there is pushback.
Oh, you mean at the time that they were back in 2005? You're thinking that they were going to do this?
Because I mean, if that's what you mean, then it was the pushback that kind of assisted with that. But then again, we go back to the fact that we need to know what's going on, do our research, and then use our collective voices. It works.
But the thing is, people were talking about this even before 2005 from the Ingram administration.
No, because the potential to actually revise a treaty is always there.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, people think that once you sign on to that treaty, that it's written in stone. It's just like a constitution. You can revise the constitution anytime you want.
Apparently not.
In our context, what was it?
Okay.
Somebody just revised our constitution. Somebody was telling me, I think was it Spain, I think?
All the time.
Right?
Everyone.
And I'm like, France just did it, I think, a couple of weeks ago.
People are on triple-digit amendments to the Constitution.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if we think the Constitution is supposed to be the supreme law of a land, so if the Constitution can be amended, then any other agreement can be amended unless you put in a clause that cannot do so. And you will not do that to a regional agreement because you have to update it and evolve it based on whatever happens. I mean, come on.
But from before the 90s even, I guess, people were concerned about this, talking about this, and there was always going to be that debate, and we haven't budged from the early 2000s.
Because it's a possibility always, so continue to use your collective voices.
Okay,
but
that's
also,
an interesting point.
But don't actually I would say also don't fearmonger or whatnot. Like, look at the technical. Have we actually read the agreements? Do we even understand what are the benefits or not of going into these different revisions? Like, have we actually done that? There are literal articles written on the benefits of doing such things. Like, Google is free, guys.
This person says here, Bahamas were distracted by the TikTok and Facebook challenge over the weekend. Okay.
That's
why they were spreading misinformation. Is that what? Anyway, did you hear one of the Haitian gang leaders saying that there will be civil war and genocide in Haiti? I did see a clip saying that, yes. That is very disturbing, and I think they're already having a genocide, but okay. Yeah, I did see that clip. He's warned of civil war.
I just want to throw in, too, that is incredibly disturbing and concerning. And then another thing that I think is also important for us to think about is that Haiti society is built a bit differently than ours. So it almost functions like a caste society where certain persons are unable to move up in rank and they're literally looked down upon by the rest of their people. And they will refuse to think better of themselves. And so when you have a society that's built like that, it's almost a mentality that I deserve what's happening to me. And then you have those who are willing to exploit that. Like that situation is so complex.
Absolutely. This texter says here, I live and worked in Belize from 2012 to 2015. Anytime I travel and return to Belize, I entered through the returning CARICOM citizen line at the airport. That's where they have
you can do
signs
that,
for the returning citizens visit. You do not need any visa if you're traveling between CARICOM countries, I guess you're saying.
I think if we can just clarify that just a little bit. So there are technicalities with that. So similarly to when you apply for visas to other countries, there are different grades of visa that you can receive. And movement isn't necessarily just entry. Right. So we can have entry, but it depends on that country whether you can apply that or not. So for the texter, right? Yeah. If you're going into a different country, it depends on if they require the visa or not, because we can have persons coming to us from other CARICOM countries, but we may apply visas against them, if that makes sense, right? So again, we go to the grades of it. So we benefit as a country to go into other CARICOM countries without requiring, and some of them still may require additional documentation. But when they come here, some of them literally require a visa.
Yeah, this wasn't just about travel. This was about being able to work, right?
No, and that's another part of it, going back to the grades of visas that you can get. Just like if you were to go, and I think most persons are familiar that if you got a visa to go to the United States of America, right? So you have B1, B2, which is visitors, right? And then you have the different grades being able to work. And there are literally different types, a number of them, on how you can work. So similarly to the movement with any country that's going to exist.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, hopefully people will hear that. But as DeAndre says, that's a good idea, right? If you are concerned, just so in case any new administration doesn't think, maybe they're open to it now, let people know how you feel. But also do the research. Find out what would be the benefits, what are the drawbacks, and maybe we can help as well. Maybe we'll do a show on it at some point.
I think that would be helpful, actually.
Yeah, so people can get it. Because I was talking to somebody over the weekend who said they thought it would be a good idea. I'm like, I think a lot of people would very much dislike this.
I really think we have to take a step back in time at all of the articles that were done, not only not only that were published necessarily by the local dailies or whatnot, but we really have to look at the economic impact of that and what that would mean, not only in the short term, but also the long term. I go back to the reality of how precarious our financial situation is because of the dependency of our dollar on another currency. Yeah. And once as we start having those conversations about perhaps equating our currency to other countries, other than the one that it's already linked to, you're going to cause
that'll be the one that'll be the last one we sign on to of all those things.
This is
guaranteed the last
This is
one.
what I'm saying, guys.
But the free movement might benefit Bahamians. Who knows, right? But we'll do it, Sean.
No, but see, the thing about it too, though, is that you can't have preferential movement, right? Because that could be seen as discriminatory. I mean, other countries could practice it, but they also have other avenues open. So if you do have one type of movement for a particular type of person, then that has to apply across the spectrum. It literally has to, or else your country can be seen as discriminatory. And I don't think we're ready to face any type of international or regional court case for such things.
Okay.
What do I know?
Let's take this call, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Strong.
Hi, good morning.
To your guest. Happy birthday to her.
Morning, thank you.
Yeah. Now, let me say, I was very instrumental in being one of those persons who actually fought against the CSME, President Union at the time. The trade union movement, for the most part, rejected the revised treaty of Chagarama for several reasons. Now, as relates to the free movement of people, that was one of our main concerns, because the way the CSME is designed, it was designed for Caribbean persons who are part of it to be able to work in any Caribbean country without any visa, without any problems. And the bad thing about it was once a position was vacant in the Bahamas or available in the Bahamas, it had to be advertised throughout the entire Caribbean.
Wow.
And the most qualified persons was actually entitled to receive that job. And if the country found out that there was discrimination against any other country for a local, they had the right to take it to the CCJ. That was one of the biggest concerns we had. And one of the reasons why that was a large concern, because the CSME had the persons who went to the University of the West Indies as the favorite choice for qualifications in the Caribbean. Knowing that most payments went to America, Canada, or England to advance their education, we could not have agreed to that. That was one of our biggest concerns we had. Then secondly, it was this one single currency. As a matter of fact, I would publicly tell you this. When we looked at that revised treaty of Chagarama, that was designed to pull the Bahamas in line with the rest of the Caribbean. And they envy us because of our geographical location. Now, most Bahamians ain't interested in waiting in no foreign country for no long time. But a number of Caribbean persons want to come to the Bahamas for one, our strong dollar, kind of good culture, and our proximity to the United States. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And then there was a third concern here that slipped me just now, but I know it was taking the free movement of people, the educational thing, the single currency, and there was one other concern we had.
Yeah.
From them right now. But those are some of the main concerns the trade union movement had. And thinking, I remember asking Dr. Edward Townsend, who just died, God rest his soul. We were some of the main persons who really fought against it.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Thank you so much, John. When we do the show, we'll do it in a few, maybe in a couple of days or so. I'll call you to be a part of that. Be a part of that conversation.
I have my former secretary general, S.J. Miller. He was very, very instrumental in assisting us with gathering the information. So I'll see if I can reach out to him to accompany me.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, John Pinder. Appreciate it. All right. This text before we go to a break. This person says here, is there an ethnic minority group in Haiti? I don't know if you can call it a genocide if you kill people of your own race, nationality. Well, actually, yes, you can still. The definition of genocide is the deliberate and systematic destruction of a racial, political, or cultural group.
Cultural, right?
So there you go. And that's definitely what's going on there. So it is. You could say it is. It is. It's genocide. This is, right? Crazy stuff. Let's go to the break. When we come back, we'll talk about what the FNM is saying about the government's position on NIB. We'll get to that after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Round, 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 round. Stick around. And I'll be damned if I can't slow dance with you. Come pour some sugar on me, honey, too. It's a real live boogie and a real live hold down. Don't be you come take it to the floor now. Woo! There's a tornado in my city. It's the basement. That ain't pretty. Rugged whiskey. We're surviving. Over red cup kisses, sweet redemption, passing time, yeah. Ooh, one step to the right. We headed to the dive bar we always thought was nice. Ooh, run me to the left, then spin me in the middle. Boy, I can't read your mind. This ain't Texas, ain't no hold'em. Hey, lay our cards down, 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 down. So park your Lexus, throw your keys up. Hey, stick around, round, 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 round.
Nassau, Bahamas.
Time for First Look at Traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC Bank for all of you. Got a notice for you about Dowswell Street. In fact, that work has started already, and paving initiative continues. Paving work will be subdivided beginning at Victoria Avenue to incorporate the installation of conduits for to address the drainage issue in the area. You know, the flooding there is terrible. That work is expected to begin in earnest today and continue through March 22nd. The road works will begin at 9:30 a.m. and continue on until 3:30 p.m. daily. The Ministry of Works advising everybody to avoid the area if you can, and they're asking for all vehicles to be removed from the roadside to accommodate the smooth workflow there. Again, if you can, avoid the area entirely or follow all the posted signs. That's Dowswell Street, that area there, and the side streets being impacted as well. Avoid that area if you can. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing a number of hotspots this morning. Eastern Road, heavy traffic from just east of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road if you're heading westbound. Prince Charles Drive, heavy traffic for you this morning, especially at the major intersections like Beatrice Avenue. And then on the way to Robinson Road, well, that intersection, but not looking so bad on Robinson Road at this exact moment. Blue Hill Road is busy near Carmichael and just north of Soldier on the way to the roundabout with Independence Drive. We're seeing heavy traffic on Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, westbound to the roundabout with Mila Butler Highway, which is also busy from Fire Trail straight up to that roundabout with Tawny Williams-Darling. And Glasson Road also busy for you just north of Fire Trail to the roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. Those are your hotspots right now. That's your first look at traffic this morning, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you. 7:45, time for another check of your weather for today. We've got a fast-moving cold front that's going to trek swiftly across the central and southeast Bahamas through tonight. High pressure supporting a moderate to fresh breeze and a drier air mass building over the islands behind that, though. For today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, we're looking at partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and mild conditions with a passing shower, mainly near the front, becoming fair and cool tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. For the southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny and warm, becoming partly cloudy, mild, and breezy with isolated showers tonight. Small craft caution goes into effect behind the front. Temperatures today, not getting into the 80s. It's a little bit cooler than we've seen over the past few days. So highs in the upper 70s, maybe around 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, sunny skies and mild daytime temperatures will continue throughout the country through the middle of the week due to that high pressure system. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly sunny and mild, breezy in the central and southeast Bahamas with isolated showers in the southeastern islands. Wednesday, partly sunny and mild with a chance of passing showers, fair and cool at night. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Unleash the power of electricity. Test drive an electric vehicle at Easy Car Sales and discover the instant torque, quiet ride, and the power of an EV. Visit easy242.com and plug into the evolution of transportation.
RBC. Are you buying a home, renovating, or exploring mortgage options? With cashback and up to 90% financing, we'll find the perfect mortgage for you. Pre-qualify in just 60 seconds and get connected with a mortgage specialist today. Visit rbc.com/mortgages/all of you. RBC. Conditions apply.
Nassau, Chia Pierre's March On. The story about us is backed by popular demand. March 16 and 17 at the University of the Bahamas Performing Arts Center.
He is smart and handsome, a world traveler. World traveler? Please, that boy being in London and Spanish girls.
She's so special, and it's a real hair.
She really special for true. First time I ever know synthetic hair is growing a human scalp.
It will keep you at the edge of your seat.
Oh, you sound like you done lose your pride.
Who tell you ain't proud to be Bahamian?
With our signature scandal you love.
You mad because I got a woman to love me for free. And you gotta pay for that.
Tickets available at Gorgeous Essentials Mall Marathon. Chia Pierre's March On. The story about us is backed by popular demand.
They just don't trust Chinese restaurants, but owned by Bahamians. When you look, the sweet and sour pork come with peas and grits. Oh my.
You can't miss it again. March 16 and 17 at the University of the Bahamas Performing Arts Center.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef, it's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, we're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
It's Nassau Tile's March Madness sale, and we're celebrating 94 years in business by giving 20% off store-wide. Catch the sale on all tiles, thin set, grout, mosaics, and more. Save 25% off select porcelain tiles, 30% off ceramic tiles, and up to 40% off selected wall tiles. Our experts will guide you in your selection. Visit our showroom on Doswell Street or call 322-2100 to make your dream space a reality. Don't miss the March Madness sale, March 18th to 28th.
It's Easter time again, and it's time to stop by Paradise Fisheries, located at number 16 Harley Street, Mount Royal Avenue. We are now accepting those large orders for fish fries on Good Friday. So give us a call today at 325-3301 or stop by our stores between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Fridays and 9 a.m. on Saturdays. Paradise Fisheries, still your one-stop shop for all of those Easter desires.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
If they saw what I saw, they would fall the way I felt, but they don't know what you want. And baby, I would never tell. If they knew what I know, they would never let you go. So guess what? I ain't never letting you go. Cause your lips were made for mine, and my heart could go flatline if it wasn't beating for you all the time. So if I get jealous, I can't help it. I want every bit of you. I guess I'm selfish. It's bad for my mental, but I can't fight it when you're out looking like you do, but you can't hide it. No.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with DeAndrew Cartwright on this Monday morning. And we continue talking about what's in the news. Okay, the big headline in the Nassau Guardian: Pintard slams government's flip-flop on NIB. Calls OPM's contradiction troubling and shameful. Our Travis Cartwright Cal writing about it today. The government's flip-flopping on the increase in the National Insurance Board rate was, quote, troubling and shameful, according to opposition leader Michael Pintard. Hours after the Minister of Immigration and National Insurance, Alfred Sears, announced in Parliament, in the House of Assembly, on Thursday that the NIB rate was going to increase by 1.5 percentage points starting in July 2024, this year, and will increase by 1.5 percentage points every 2 years until 2044. The Office of the Prime Minister said no decision has been made beyond the July 1st increase. Now, Pintard asking lots of questions about this. He said, what minister is going to leave cabinet without the sanction of cabinet and announce something at that level? It's just not possible. Can't announce it in the House, definitely, right? That's me saying that now. It's just not possible. It is not believable for the Prime Minister to suggest anything other than he, Sears, was authorized to do so, and then they, I guess, heard the initial reaction of outrage and said this cannot fly without tremendous political consequences, and then he does what he normally does, which is to flip-flop. He simply does not have a well-considered position. Now, Pintard said it's clear that the government is not focused. He said, quote, when we heard the minister, we expected he was really speaking on behalf of the government. This is so worrisome in terms of how seriously persons will take the word of government officials when they hear announcements being made and policy positions being announced so that people can make decisions. It is troubling and extremely shameful that ministers over and over continue to speak as if they are announcing government decisions with a cabinet conclusion only to have the Prime Minister contradict them. They are clearly not talking to each other in cabinet and leaving cabinet with a shared position that the public can rely on and plan the way forward. So this is most unfortunate. Now, Pintard also noted that the proposed increase of 1.5 percentage points every 2 years is pretty high. He said, quote, I've seen some calculations that suggest the contributions would increase by 250% over the next 20 years from 9.8% to 24.8%. So, yeah, that is quite something. So, some very interesting points there from Michael Pintard. Fred Mitchell, in his voice note today, though, had some interesting things to say about this as well. I want you to listen to this. want you to listen to this and take a listen to what Fred Mitchell had to say today.
The Minister for National Insurance announced the expected hike in the next budget cycle of the national insurance contribution rate, and it looks like it's going to be 1.5% spread equally between employer and employee. The actuaries, of course, have suggested that this will likely require increases of the same dimensions over the next 20 years or so every 2 years. But it does not follow that this is what will happen. The Prime Minister's point in his latest statement is the government can only speak for its term of office and the decisions we make. We cannot speak for a forward term, even if the next administration might be ours. In other words, those decisions about the rate increase depend on the circumstances the government meets in those days when it's time to do so. For example, suppose the investment strategy that the National Insurance Board has gives returns higher than we expect. Then it may obviate the need for an increase. All right, so over the weekend, some mischief makers
Okay, and then he's going to get into the CARICOM free movement thing when he talks about mischief makers. But interesting points there. I don't know why Sayers, if this isn't something that he's decided to say in the days following this debacle, that's a pretty reasonable, in my view, viewpoint from Fred Mitchell there, who's also in the cabinet. I don't see why Sayers could not have said this. Barring any unforeseen circumstances or hurricanes or whatever it is, general elections, we won't be increasing it. But that is what is recommended, and that'll be up to any administration that comes following this one.
But
perhaps.
see, that part I want us to also pay attention to, because it can also be interpreted that it's possible for another administration, maybe different leadership, same party, who knows, different party, different administration, to possibly change that and possibly increase it or scrap it.
Right. And so now what? Now did he get himself into even
right? So did we not see
deeper
that?
quicksand there?
Was there an increase or decrease in VAT?
We've had increase and decrease, yes.
So we've seen the flip-flopping already on the existing tax, and NIB is a form of a
could
tax.
that be an election football? Like, we're going to not increase,
right? Or we're going to
NIB
scrap
in our
the
time.
increase.
If you vote for us.
And then on top of this, are we looking at, what's the origin of why we're actually doing these things? Have we read that IMF report, guys? They were here in December. They released a report. We need to read it.
We'll pick this up on the other side of the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Cause your lips were made for mine, and my heart could go flatline if it wasn't beating for you all the time. So if I get jealous, I can't help it. I want every bit of you. I guess I'm selfish. It's bad for my mental, but I can't fight it when you're out looking like you do, but you can't hide it. No, put you in a frame, oh baby, who could blame you? Glad your mama made you, making me insane. You cannot be explained. Oh, you must be an angel. Every time the phone rings, I hope that it's you on the other side. I wanna tell you everything that's on my mind, and I don't want any other guys taking my place. Girl, I got too much pride. I know I may be wrong, but I don't wanna be right. Cause your lips were made for mine, and my heart would go flatline if it wasn't beating for you all the time. So if I get jealous, I can't help it. I want every bit of you. I guess I'm selfish. It's bad for my mental.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or text us 422-4796. And now at 8:21, it is time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Here is what's happening. We've got a fast-moving cold front that's going to trek swiftly across the central and southeast Bahamas. That's going to continue through tonight. High pressure supporting a moderate to fresh breeze and a drier air mass is building over the islands. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents along north and northeasterly beaches. Your forecast for today for the northwest and central Bahamas, partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and mild with a passing shower, mainly near the front, becoming fair and cool tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. For the southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny and warm, becoming partly cloudy, mild, and breezy with isolated showers tonight. Small craft caution comes into effect behind the front. Temperatures today, highs getting up to around 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, sunny skies and mild daytime temperatures will continue through the middle of the week, due to the presence of that strong high-pressure system over the area. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly sunny and mild, breezy in the central and southeast Bahamas with isolated showers in the southeastern islands. Wednesday, partly sunny and mild with a chance of a passing shower, fair and cool at night. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC, a bank for all of you. A reminder of the work going on in the Dowswell Street area, the Dowswell Street Paving Initiative. That work is scheduled to begin today and continue through March 22nd. This is going to be at Victoria Avenue and to where it's beginning. And it's going to incorporate the installation of conduits to address the drainage issues in the area. Again, if you don't have to be in that area, you want to avoid that area or follow the posted signs. In your real-time traffic this morning, Mile Bella Highway, still heavy traffic for you from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway. And Glass Road looking a bit better for you right now, but traffic is backed up a bit along John F. Kennedy Drive, along Lake Cunningham. That's east and westbound right now for you. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road near the roundabout with Independence Drive, so traffic is backed up if you're heading northbound and eastbound on Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway as well. And East Street, just north of Soldier Road, busy for you on the way to the roundabout with East-West Highway. Soldier Road, number of hot spots for you. Windsor Place near Old Trail at the intersection with Prince Charles Drive. And straight through onto the intersection with Wolf Village and Bernard Roads. We're seeing the heavy traffic now on Robinson Road between Soldier and East-West Highway, Marathon Road. Marathon busy for you as well, northbound on the way to Wolf Road. Then there's Eastern Road. Well, it was busy a bit earlier, now not so bad, but West Bay Street near Saunders Beach and in New Providence Highway, eastbound traffic heavy there, and east of Arawak as you head into downtown Nassau near Nassau Street, heavy traffic for you there. That's what we're looking at right now with your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you for more information.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with DeAndre Cartwright. Coming up in a few minutes, we're talking with the Bahamas Crisis Center about their anti-violence campaign. We'll get details about that in just a bit. But we continue with what's in the news, talking about what we mentioned before the break, the reaction from the government on what's happening with NIB, the F&M, slamming the government over the flip-flopping on what exactly is going to happen after July 2024 with the rate increases for NIB. Fred Mitchell, who was in the cabinet, who also is the PLP chairman, saying that the reason why the OPM issued that statement, I guess, after the Minister for National Insurance said that it was going to happen every 2 years, the increase. The reason why the OPM said that nothing is set in stone beyond the July increase is because they can't speak for potential future. They can't say that definitively based on how things turn out, whether there is a situation that causes them to have to push it back or whether the things improve enough that they don't have to have the every 2 year increases. So that's why they are saying hold your horses, I guess. But Michael Pintar is asking the right questions. How is it possible that a cabinet minister could get up in the House of Assembly and say that is what is going to happen without that having been what was decided before?
You know, the thing about it is, I mean, all of those are valid points, right? Now, I think we have to, I really want to dissect the response because that could almost come across that, this administration, another administration, another party, there can be some changes, there can be some good changes, some positive changes. That could also be seen as concerning because when you have a fluctuating tax, essentially, and we have the unknowns applied to it, what are you praying for? What's going to happen? And then furthermore, if you're going to have differences in the outputs on such decisions, then what else is going to possibly change? Because if we're talking about the NIB increase, then what else? Are we also missing updates in other areas as well? Should we look at what's coming out of the Ministry of Works, Education, Youth? What other things now that have been put into the public may need changes?
Oh, boy. Wow. Let's hear what you have to say on this, folks. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, let's get your text messages in here. Folks are saying flip-flop was going on with Brave from La Rota first spoke on this matter. Brave was just trying to save his own hide. What now? Wow. Okay, this person says here, I agree with Fred Mitchell on one point. He can't speak for another government. They will not be there after the next election. Whoa. Well, okay.
Tell me why not. Call us and tell us why not. I'm curious.
Pintar says it's troubling and shameful that this could have happened. The minister says one thing, and the government comes back with something totally different. Again, call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's see what this caller has to say. Caller, good morning. You're on Morning Blend. Good morning. Hi, are you there? Yep, let's get, no, okay. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Yep, okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. Hi, good morning. What are we doing? Have the mics up? Something's not connecting there. Okay. We're going to sort that out. Another text here. Great show as usual. The PLP increasing their chance of being the opposition by 1.5%. Some humor there. Okay. Well, Well, we got to figure out, did Fred Mitchell's comment do more good or more harm? Because now introducing the fact that another government might decide to do away with it. Although that would jeopardize the health of the fund. I mean, this is an independent body that is saying that this needs to happen and at a regular interval. So that will be like sticking your head in the sand just for political gain.
I mean, that has happened before, no?
Well, of course.
I think also part of what we need to discuss or possibly explore is the performance of the investments at NIB. Like, have we actually examined that as people? Like, have we done a deep dive as to what they're investing in or who is borrowing money, or rather which entities are borrowing money from NIB that have also not paid that money back, which has caused it to become so precarious? And also, are we going to be examining those practices and possibly, walking back on those things?
It always comes up. Let's see. All right, let's read some more messages. This person says here, the government sounds never head into Parliament. Why not divide it? It doesn't look good and it confuses the masses of people. Okay, that part is confusing. And they're asking about the free movement of people. We already talked about this. It is not true. We're not signing on to that. We've decided that years ago. We're not signing on. All right. Let's see if we can get these calls in really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
We have to have a chat.
Caller.
Good morning, Dwight. Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Deandra Cartwright.
Good morning.
Happy before your birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, my birthday is on Wednesday right after yours.
Oh, wow.
Happy pre-birthday.
Look at that.
But Dwight, this is what we continue to get when we continue to elect status quo governments, right? Now, the policies that Fred Mitchell is concerned about, right, is what all Bahamians should be concerned about, because our governments only come and they put policies in place knowing that the next person coming to sit in the seat potentially could move it and create another policy, right? But what if they was creating laws, right, and putting laws in place that it wasn't so easy to be removed, because laws ain't easy to be removed like policies are. And we have governments with only interested in putting policies, right, knowingly that the next guy come in and power and decide that this policy ain't good for him, right? So he changes it. But when we have to start creating laws that administrations just can't come and remove willy-nilly, And I really agree with the point.
Well, the laws can easily happen with the law too. Now, is the Constitution? If you're enshrining the Constitution, then it becomes extremely difficult.
Well, that's what we need to do if we really want a stable country, right? Because we need laws. This is supposed to be a country of laws, not a country of policies, right? Yeah. But I really want to say just to Fred Mitchell, the truest thing I ever heard you said is the fact that you all ain't going to be inside
he didn't say
next
that.
election.
He didn't say that. I
know he didn't say that.
Right.
But
right.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot. Let's squeeze this in really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Miss Cartwright. Happy pre-birthday to you.
Thank you.
Oh, man. He took me for a loop just now. Dwight, I think basically he was on to something, but let me just opine on this point. Some of the policies that's in play for national insurance, I believe they really need to be re-examined, revisited, and revamped. I know one of the biggest things I'm hearing, especially since the pandemic, a lot of persons have complained that there are persons who never contributed to national insurance who have benefited from national insurance. And yet, yes, we understand that we are brothers and sisters keeper, but come on, that is a social network that is supposed to provide for the persons, especially in retirement age, to at least be able to get something and get that something comfortably, not having to worry about whether the fund is going to run short or that kind of stuff. Right now, we have many persons who have benefited from this network, who have never contributed, don't have no intention to contribute, And by law, I believe that if you're working in this country, you are mandated to contribute to national insurance. That's the part that I could never get. So you're sending monies out of the country, contributed, but yet you're benefiting from the system? That's ridiculous. We need to revisit national insurance and bring it up to a point where everybody must contribute in order to benefit from national insurance. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. One final call. Good morning, caller on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? No? Okay. These messages as we go to the break. This person says here, this is just a random text. Not everyone knows how to handle power. They brag about what they can do before an election, but when they are elected, most of them seem lost on knowing how to handle a country. Okay. No problem with the NIV increase. The problem is the government using the funds as a slush fund. The government needs to take a step back and cut all the unnecessary spending. Example, travel, waste, gas, red plates, all of them. All right, these are a lot of different issues that you've lumped in together. They're all different and not necessarily related to this conversation, but I hear you. This person says the government knows nothing about collective responsibility. They continue to be confused about their role, I guess they're saying. When Loretta was said one thing, only to be thrown under the bus by the Prime Minister. NIB is in trouble and has been for a long time. Why not just do what is necessary and stop the confusion? Well, you all say it if you feel like, right, like, yeah, let's fix it, we're fine with it every 2 years. Can you say it? Will you say it?
We talk, but where's the action?
This was proposed years ago. This was said by independent auditors, right? This is what needs to happen. They were saying 2%, I believe, every couple of years.
That's the only way to keep up.
So what are we going to do? We'll be hearing more about this, I'm sure, over the next few weeks leading up to July, when the rate increase comes into effect. We're going to take a break, though. When we come back, we're talking about anti-violence in schools, the Bahamas Crisis Center's new initiative. We'll get the details when we return to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Your beautiful son. You are the highest, in all the land.
Joan Williams Bahamas.
They got a reconscript band. Keep you on.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we can sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
In 2023, over 9 million in the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Champ, baby girl, cable guy is here.
Since the very beginning, you have been with us.
This is called wave, and this is called the internet.
Okay.
Right, so you can
For over 2 decades, we've been with you every step of the way.
Weebo is total class. Look at her go. She's in front.
My fellow Bahamians and residents. So yeah, times may have changed, and so have your needs as our valued customers. But some connections stand the test of time. Rev, we're with you.
We need to talk, and it's about something pretty important, your NIB contributions. For nearly 50 years, NIB contributions from hard work have supported families and individuals alike. And while the scope of NIB benefits has increased, contribution rates have remained relatively unchanged. That's why starting on July 1st, 2024, both employers and employees will have to pay a little extra to sustain this national lifeline. But how do we get here? Here are the facts. Firstly, Bahamian families have changed. With fewer people having children, there are fewer people eventually joining the workforce. And with Bahamian retirees living longer, NIB payouts have gone up, but the NIB contributions continue to drop. The July 1st rate increase is our way to ensure NIB benefits are available for generations to come. We all have a role to play, and it starts with investing in tomorrow today with NIB.
You've heard of electric cars. Now it's time you drive one. Easy Car Sales welcomes you to experience the power and prestige of the latest electric vehicles. Plug in at home for a 65% discount off your gas bill and never get stuck at the pump again. Build your dreams of a better future with a better car. Visit easy242.com to book your free test drive today. Save your money while driving in style, only at Easy Car Sales.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Atlantic Insurance Agents and Brokers. Good like that. All benefit to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
It's Nassau Tile's March Madness sale, and we're celebrating 94 years in business by giving 20% off store-wide. Catch the sale on all tiles, thin set, grout, mosaics, and more. Save 25% off select porcelain tiles, 30% off ceramic tiles, and up to 40% off selected wall tiles. Our experts will guide you in your selection. Visit our showroom on Doswell Street or call 322-2100 to make your dream space a reality. Don't miss the March Madness sale, March 18th to 28th.
Come on. Yeah, gotta do it. Go back to the island, boy. Let's go. Wake up early one morning, kiss my mama goodbye. Going back to the island, I say, don't worry, mama, don't cry.
Alice Mabel, I sure hope that she's still able. So this evening round 5 o'clock, I'll stand at her bow and see the dock. Out in the field from dawn till dusk, swimming in the blue pool is a must. That island where I was born, the first thing I'll do is brew some corn.
Wake up early one morning, kiss my mama goodbye. Going back to the island, I say, don't worry, mama, don't cry.
Outside in the iron pot, though young when I learned, I haven't forgot how to catch them black crab as they walking, pipe and talking. Saturday night we're gonna dance and sing.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Deandra Cartwright.
You almost said that slow, like I got a different name of the weekend.
I almost forgot my name just now. It's Monday and time change and all this stuff, right?
Watch that.
Boy, anyway. Deandra Cartwright is with us here, and we're changing gears now. We're talking about this wonderful initiative, the Bahamas Crisis Center, tackling violence in our schools. Here to tell us all about this, we're very pleased to have with us in studio Noelle Nichols and Lisa Fox, and joining us via Zoom, Rowena Poitier. Good morning, everybody. Great to have you with us.
Good mornings. Great to be back on the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so let's talk about it. Remember when this was launched, how this came about and how it works.
Sure. Well, the Bahamas Crisis Center has been working on a green ribbon campaign for many years. But initially, the program started out as they worked in the high schools, and they went in during the General Assembly to talk about mental health and just more broadly wellness issues. But in this particular year is the first year that we're going into the primary schools, focusing on an anti-violence campaign. But in particular, rather than our approach being, the behaviors that we don't want kids to participate in, this campaign is squarely focused on reaffirming and teaching the children the positive values that we want them to practice. Kindness, respect, and courage. Violence happens on a spectrum. Most obviously recently, there's been a lot of cry about the murder rates and these sorts of things. But when you see our children, communities as adults, the aggression, the anger, the lack of conflict resolution, the disrespect, all of these things create violence, at another scale on that spectrum. So we really want to create a campaign to prevent violence and teach the young people how to practice these positive values in order to be change makers in the community.
Yeah. Well, we see videos all the time, school kids getting into brawls and just terrible stuff. But so I know the answer to this, but how bad is it? How bad is it in the schools, even in primary school? What are we looking at?
Well, the violence in the primary school, we have the primary school police unit that's being trained and supporting our program, and they were really, really keen to be involved because minimize, the escalation of violence that we're already seeing in the primary schools. But you see fighting. Obviously, the children in the primary school are exposed to other forms of violence, not just at school, but in their communities, in their homes. So we're also talking about coping mechanisms to cope with violence and how do you deal when you're a victim of violence. But also, along the spectrum, the children talk about just a lot of disrespect and bullying. That starts with teasing, that starts with not being able to cope with shame, that starts with, not necessarily being able to resolve conflicts. So there are many, many challenges that we're seeing amongst our young people that we're trying to tackle.
Yeah. All right, so give us the name of the initiative. What's it called?
It's called the Champions of Peace Green Ribbon Campaign. Rowena was one of the persons that worked with me in order to design the workshop that we're actually going into the schools. We've trained over 150 volunteers in the workshop. We're going into schools in order to reach about 3,000 children over the course of the month of March.
Oh, wow. Rowena, tell us more about that, what the curriculum looks like.
Oh, well, greetings from Sunny Cat Island.
Hey.
I am so thankful to be a part of this program. This is a robust program, and I really do believe that Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson is a visionary and understand that it's important, the narratives that we tell ourselves, and to start from as early as possible to capture these narratives. And so a component of this program is performing arts, which helps you to understand the narratives that you tell yourself about yourself. And basically, we want to instill that you are worthy, you are enough, and to begin to capture a positive mindset. And also the narratives that you are told about your community and who you are in that community and the relationships and how you have the power to change. So this is a very positive program, and we use the performing arts as a way to shape those conversations with the children.
So the workshop, what it looks like is we talk about, first of all, peace, right? The conversation is often around, okay, what type of violence are you seeing? But what we go into and start the conversation around is get the children to discuss what is their vision of peace? What does peace mean to them? Do they even share the objective? We're going in there because we want to create safer communities for our kids, for all of us. Like, what are the kids' perspective on peace? So we start there with a conversation around that, hopefully with the objective to get us all on the same page so that we're both, through the course of us working together, working towards the same goal. Then we move into a discussion of the value of kindness. And we discuss with the kids actually their experience of kindness. And Lisa, who led one of the schools last week that we started, and actually will be leading one of the schools this week, will be able to share some of the feedback that she experienced from the kids. But generally speaking, the little exposure and to kindness.
Oh, wow.
Right? And we do an exercise with them where we call it a love shower, where for about 60 seconds, the kids partner up and they have to speak positive affirmations to each other. First of all, they have to say I am statements. I am smart, I am a star. And then we flip it around to you are statements. You are great. You are a great classmate. Your contribution makes everybody smile and things like that. And when they do that exercise, and we talk to them after about how it made them feel and what is their experience about the power of kindness to create change, that conversation is a really powerful conversation. And like I said, Lisa probably could share some of the experiences that she had with doing that with the kids and some of her facilitators.
Yeah. So what does that mean exactly, Lisa? They're not experiencing kindness. So no one is saying anything nice to them. It's all criticism, all punishing words. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I can't speak to all of that. First of all, I want to say thank you to Noelle and Rowena for designing a platform for this. But we did see that they did receive the message very well. They had a lot of fun. It was created and designed for them to feel comfortable. The introduction of how it was going to pan out, encouraging them to speak freely from the heart, to listen from the heart, ensuring that this was a safe environment for them. Obviously, a lot of these children, and we would have interviewed some of the administrators, have experienced violence within their own communities. Some of them have witnessed violence, whether it's physical or otherwise, within their own families. Yeah. And, these are children between the ages of 8 to 10 years old at this point that we are presenting to. And, that's a very traumatic thing to think about, just in one instance. So you would only understand, or you can only imagine that speaking about kindness is something that they need to hear. It's something that they may not hear all the time. And in some instances, they may not hear at all. Right. So to say, what their responses were, we wanted to have it interactive. Our job was not to counsel them. Our job was to share this beautiful message to them so that they can have fun. Give them the affirmations, as Noelle said, the love shower was the kindness aspect of the presentation. Give them the affirmations to say kind things about themselves first, because it has to start with us. We are responsible for our own love for ourselves, and then to transfer that love to somebody else. So the affirmation started, as she said, with I am beautiful, I am amazing, I am kind. And then we return that with you are. And they had a really good time. I was very pleased to see that in our school, the one that we presented to on Tuesday, the teachers actually had affirmations in the classroom. So we were greeted with these beautiful affirmations. And so that was a very positive thing to see in our public school system.
Yeah. No, I was saying earlier about whether the kids are on the same page as the rest of us about peace. What did you see? Do they want that? Are they seeking that out?
Well, it was a mixed response.
Oh, boy.
I believe that, we actually had 6 classes. So there were 2 presenters per class. And thankfully, everyone was on the same floor because of the setup. So some of the groups had a more positive experience, and others had an experience where they did see some issues. So, for example, on the other side, there were some responses where the children would respond in a way that it was obvious that this was not something that they hear about or they're desensitized to it. They didn't receive it in a way where it was something that they were accustomed to. Some of them were shy. Some of them we had to actually kind of speak with them one-on-one. Others, we had to almost encourage them to be confident because, they didn't want to talk about certain things. And it was discovered that, again, it's because of some of the things that they are experiencing.
Yeah, my goodness. Noelle?
So when we do that, well, when we were developing the program, for example, we did a survey with the kids in the focus group where we asked them to rate their experience of kindness. And just one example of a little boy, his rating of 0 to 10, how many acts of kindness he had practiced that week to himself, how many acts of kindness he had practiced to other people, or how many acts of kindness he had received. And his rating was 0 on all of them, right?
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And so he had done nothing kind to anybody, nothing kind to himself, and didn't experience any kindness towards himself. And we did that love shower exercise, and afterwards, and he was one of the kids who was a little reluctant at first, and he was one of the kids that when we were doing the exercise, he gave a backhanded compliment that had to be addressed.
Was he?
He was, I think, 9 as well. But in the end, after the exercise, right, and supporting him through the exercise, and he got into it eventually, and his feedback was, he was like, "Ma'am, I ain't gonna lie, that felt really good." And that's the feedback that we've been getting. So, for example, on the peace side, one of the things that was surprising with me is a lot of the kids express peace as peace and quiet. So a lot of the kids described how they just wanted some quiet where they could concentrate or they could focus. They could work on something without being disturbed. And peace to many of the kids in the class that I was in particular was associated with peace and quiet to the extent that I didn't anticipate. Wow. The kindness, how did the kindness make them feel? Some of the kids describe it made them feel connected to the class. One of the little girl, she articulated by saying she really enjoyed doing that together as a class. And she's never heard her classmates say those things about her. And that's what we teach them. We wanted to show them and have them experience that kindness has the power to build connections. Kindness has the power to save a life. Kindness has the power to give somebody confidence. Kindness has the power to just make somebody smile and change the whole course of their day. And if we intentionally practice kindness, actually we could be the change makers that could prevent violence. And we do the same thing with the role playing. And this design really was in Rowena's brilliance. The role play is called Rewind, and I'll get Rowena to kind of really give insight to how she came up with this. But they do a skit where they discuss. We ask them, what is examples of disrespect that you've experienced? We get them to role play those scenarios. And then we have them rewind the scenario, and we say, okay, we want all the characters in the scenario, we want them to change their behavior and perform acts of respect and acts of courage. And in re-performing and rewinding the skit, they see themselves how choosing respect, choosing to have courage actually completely changes the scenario, prevents fights, prevents conflicts, and all sorts of things. So that is also, a part of the power of the activity.
Rowena, we need that for some adults around here.
We do.
Yeah. Tell us more.
In fact, I think the facilitators actually got a lot out of this. I mean, there were just so many moments that were eye-opening as we developed the program, as we trained the facilitators. I don't think we are aware that in our Bahamian culture, in our everyday lives, that we can be so violent and disrespectful with our language, especially to our children. We say things like, "You crazy, you stupid, what's wrong with you?" Planting these seeds of negativity in our young people. And so activities like the Rewind actually help you to see, hey, I can pause a moment and see what the intention is. And there are many different ways that I can approach a situation, and it doesn't have to be violent. And everybody can actually benefit from the outcome. And so they have a positive outlet to express themselves. And they're also realizing that, oh, wow, yes, we have differences, but we're actually more alike than not. So you actually get to step into the skin of someone else and understand their perspective and what they may be going through, which creates a sense of empathy.
Yeah.
And so we found that that's really resonated with, like I said, from young to young at heart, And so that's been successful to the point.
Caller, we'll get to you in a second. I just want to ask, I mean, people are hearing this. It sounds wonderful, but I mean, we need this all the time, year round.
We do. So right now, we are in 17 public schools, public primary schools in the grade 4 and the grade 5 classes for the month of March. As a follow-up to this, we are planning a session with parents at each of the 17 schools. Mm-hmm. We also have a follow-up competition, a Champions of Peace Challenge, where, we want to incentivize kids. And the reason that in the workshop, we call these values superpowers. Mm-hmm. And very intentionally, because again, we want them to understand the power of these positive values if you practice them.
Right.
And like you say, I mean, that's a message that's relevant for all of us. So the Champions of Peace Challenge is as a follow-up, those who choose to participate in the challenge, we'll incentivize them to practice acts of peace, acts of kindness, acts of courage, and to report those acts of courage and kindness. We have like a poster framework that has examples, and those who basically fill out the grid, in a sense, at the end of the year will get a Champions of Peace badge, right, and a cape as Champions of Peace.
As an incentive.
As an incentive. An essay competition and a poster and TikTok competition where they can now articulate back to us what were their takeaways from the program. So in this initial instance, we have several components to create some sustainability and follow-up. And the plan is over the course of the next 5 years, we will each year do another set of schools. But of course, we need to change the culture. But the children can lead us. Dr. Patterson had shared with me, I think it was Dr. Patterson, but one of our facilitators shared a story with me where she observed a scenario where a mother was reprimanding her daughter in a very harsh way and calling her stupid in front of another little girl. And apparently the other little girl said to the parent, she said, that was not very kind. There are a lot of scenarios in the Bahamas where some parents don't take kindly to that, right?
Right, I'm sure that didn't end well.
No, well, in this particular instance, the parent actually checked herself. And she was like, you know what, you're right. And she apologized to the little girl, her daughter, and the other little girl. And I use that example to say, part of our hope is that the children will lead us. So, while we need this for the high school children, adults, everybody, we're focusing on the kids right now who are malleable and with the hope and the vision that, hey, our children can help to lead us and we can impact them now where they're young and impressionable. So with additional resources, the program will be able to continue, and we're hoping to find other ways that we can reinforce that culture within the schools. And then us as a society, we need to reinforce and affirm these positive values as well.
All right, we're running out of time. I just want to get this call in really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guests.
Hi.
You've been preempting me, Dwight, because while I commend this initiative, I have some things that I just want to point out. Firstly, I really believe that the program that the lady is talking about, and I'm happy she did mention it, this is a program that really is designed for parents, not kids. But these are things that really should be taught in the home. Then they mentioned that it seems as if they're not going into schools. These are for public school students. But I started identifying these anti-social behavior, poorly socialized children 21 years ago. July will make 21 years since I've been embarking on this, trying to address these socioeconomic issues. So, and it seems as if that the problems have gotten progressively worse. So what have we been doing over the last 21 years in terms of manufacturing these type of behaviors that we are seeing displayed in children? Are we really getting it? Are we really getting it? Because those kids now are 21 years older, and we are still seeing this high proliferation of poorly socialized boys and now our girls. It's obvious that we need to pay close attention to parenting. Parenting is our biggest problem, or the lack thereof. It's so important that it not only affects the child generations after, but we are not putting any emphasis too tough into parenting. We're not helping parents enough to get these skills to create the type of environment that we want our children to be reared in. Exactly what are we doing, and why aren't we going into the private schools? Are they doing something different? Are they more socialized, better socialized than children in public schools? Why aren't we going into,
we'll get into
into that area?
Thank you, Cleaver. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Private
Yeah.
school.
Thank you. Well, first of all, the Ministry of Education is one of our partners, and so we thought it prudent to start with the public school system because it was decided that that is where the need is most. Not that everybody doesn't need it. We all need this. So the intention is, as long as funding permits, to go into the private school sector, to go into the family islands as well, because we are one Bahamas and we all need this. As it relates to the parenting, children are the citizens of the future. We can start with a small mind. And I am not a teacher, I am not a counselor, but I know we did get some feedback from some of the teachers, and they are working with these children every day. And their view is that start from this young age. Because as one of the presenters said to me, and it really touched me, it's a dent, it's a start to something that can crystallize into something very, very huge for them and impact them in a small way. And as Noel said, this is a journey for them. We want this to be ongoing. It's not we're just showing up and doing something.
Yeah.
They're having fun with it, and we want them to take something away into their journey.
And how would you reach the parents? And this is court mandated. Very few are going to volunteer to come to be a part of a program like this.
Grown men and women. We are talking about touching these young minds whilst they're impressionable so that they can have something positive to take into their community. Conflict resolution, how they are communicating with themselves, with each other, what they think of themselves and other people.
Yeah. All right, we only have a couple minutes left. I just want to read this text really quickly. Rowena, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say, I wanted to thank that caller, and I hear his passion, and we would love to have his support and to have him perhaps join this program. We need the resources, and we need it to spread throughout the community. So we are starting in the public schools, as Lisa said, and we're starting with the young. We have to see this expand, but we need financial support. We need volunteerism and expertise. So we welcome that.
Okay.
Just wanted to add that point.
Cleaver Duncombe, you hear that? The Bahamas Crisis Center needs you. All right, this person says here, this is a big concern for me as a teacher. Are your guests telling us that not even the teachers in the schools are showing kindness to these students? This is so sad. We cannot, as teachers, do it all. I know this firsthand, but we must be the ones to be kind to our students at least. Wow. What do you say?
Well, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to say that no teachers aren't showing kindness to the schools. I wouldn't make that statement. I mean, I know our teachers are working very hard and they get into the profession, I think, because they care. And they believe in the same values that we do. Of course, we have a lot of teachers that are burnt out, I think, that are still in the system. But I think, we've been, the schools have been very supportive of this initiative. And so definitely I'm not going to say that you don't have any teachers the same way, you have parents that, demonstrate negative behaviors and things like that. But the teachers and the schools have been very, very supportive of the initiative. And with teachers, they're coping with a lot, they're dealing with a lot. And we really want to make sure that our teachers are being adequately supported with their own wellness support, their own psychosocial support, so that they themselves can better cope with all of the challenges that they're facing on a daily basis. We come in for a couple of hours. These teachers are there every day, day in and day out with these students.
This person's asking why grade 5, not grade 6 or some other grades.
Again, we are going to be incorporating the grade 6s. Right now, it's a function of capacity. The schools in particular are very keen because grade 6 is sort of that final year where you can influence them before they go to high school. But this is an entirely volunteer initiative. And so right now it's based on capacity.
And it's grades 4 and 5 right
Yeah,
now.
grade 4 and 5.
Well, that sounds like there is a call for more persons to volunteer
Right,
their
sounds like
time
it.
to the crisis
The
center.
people are
to help
asking
with
for
this.
everything. Look at this text. This is a lot. People recognize it, and there's a great need for. You need more resources. Clearly, this text
Resources,
here.
people.
Is this program strictly a local project? You can answer that one.
No, it's a local project.
All local. Does the program promote tolerance of alternative lifestyles? Okay.
Well, I mean, one of the things we teach about in respect is respecting differences, celebrating and respecting differences. We don't talk about alternative lifestyles or get into any specifics, but as a general principle of respect and kindness, I think we should be teaching all of us to practice respecting difference. We talk about being patient with persons who have disabilities. We talk about respecting when people say no and honoring and setting boundaries, having the courage to the courage to say no and the respect to respect somebody's no. So those are some of the things that we discuss.
And I would just like to say we're not promoting any type of lifestyle. This program is about positive attributes, the positive attribute of kindness, the positive attribute of respect, the positive attribute of courage.
I was asking, why isn't this a part of the curriculum? Will this teach critical thinking as part of the school curriculum as well?
I think this particular program is not a part of the curriculum. I can't speak to how some of these other aspects might be a part of it. But on the critical thinking component, definitely, I think it promotes the practice of critical thinking, particularly the use of the performing arts and the drama. And if maybe Rowena could close by speaking about that, because the discussion and the analysis that we do with the kids, for them to be able to identify, okay, where did you see respect? How did courage work? And Rowena, I just want to throw it to you to maybe add on that, because I know this is your wheelhouse.
Oh, absolutely. Well, performing arts has been proven to increase critical thinking, also have a positive influence on academics, math, and English. And so that was one of the reasons we brought this component to the program. Like I said earlier, it helps you to have a great sense of empathy and to understand someone else's perspective and how they arrived to the choices that they made. And so by going through a scenario where, someone ate your lunch, you don't have food at home. You know that someone ate your lunch as a child and you're upset about that. And that was your money and you're mad about it. And so perhaps you want to fight. Rewind that scenario. What if that's someone you sit with every day and you didn't know that they don't have food at home? How would you approach that situation? What are they going through? And so it encourages children to think through their choices, to think before they speak, to think before they act, and to have a great sense of empathy and understanding of the world around them. Because we only know what we know. And so it's good to take time to understand different perspectives and different life circumstances.
Yeah. All right. 20 seconds. If people want to volunteer, if they want to get more information, what do they do?
They can reach out to the Bahamas Crisis Center, 328-0922. You can find the Bahamas Crisis Center on social media, on Google Maps, and we are encouraging sponsors and other volunteers who want to help us to go into the schools. Thank you to our partners. We have a range of partners from Kiwanis, Rotary, Zonta, the Medical Association, UB students. There's a whole list of them. Also, we identify them on our social media pages. But this is a real community initiative.
Excellent.
And so thanks so much to everybody who's...
Noelle Nichols, Lisa Fox, and Marina Point here. Great work. Keep us updated on this, and we'd love to see this expanded.
Thank you both for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to take a break for news and be back with Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper and talking about the mid-year budget in Morning Blend Business. After this, stay with us.
I got to go back to the island. I got to go, man. I got to go back to the island. I got to go back to the island. I got to go, man. I got to go back to the island.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, March 11th, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Deandra Cartwright. And this morning we are talking about the mid-year budget. We're very pleased to have a special guest with us. We have Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good to have you with us.
Always a pleasure.
All right, so let's begin. It's been an interesting debate so far. The big topic that everybody seems to be focusing on, though, is spending. Concerns about government spending. Let's talk about that. Are these unwarranted, or do people have the right to be concerned here? Are they right to be concerned here that that maybe government is overspending at this time?
Firstly, let me say good morning to the Bahamian people, and say thanks for the continued support that they've provided me and the government of the Bahamas. In terms of the overall budget, I believe the government has done a great job in terms of managing the fiscal affairs, in terms of setting out really the priorities of building much of the success, and foreshadowing some of the issues that confront us that we must attend to. In the rule of business, it's always better to have more income and less expenses. So should we always seek to manage expenses better? Absolutely. Should we also always seek to increase our revenues? That's the basic rule of successful fiscal management. By and large, though, I think the government has done a good job at managing its fiscal affairs, expenses included. In terms of the revenue side, we are focused on maintaining and increasing revenues and obviously getting a 25% overall of in terms of revenues versus GDP.
All right. So, and that as well, the fact that it seems like the revenues coming from taxes on the Bahamian people, and that the folks that drive revenue, the concerns that's what we're doing, just taxing and then spending taxes.
Well, let me firstly say that we acknowledge that tax is normally a bad word. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to pay taxes anywhere in the world, quite frankly. But in order to support government services, to spend in schools and roads and docks and airports and provide social assistance and provide general government services, we need revenues. And those revenues, regrettably, come from taxes. We are approaching maybe 24% of GDP in terms of overall revenues. So that suggests to me that we're not highly taxed relative to many of our counterparts in the Caribbean region. Would we prefer there to be less taxes? Absolutely. But I think what is really the collection of existing taxes. So you've seen a lot of effort in the revenue enhancement unit. You've seen a lot of effort in collecting real property taxes, a lot of effort in terms of billing real property taxes. I believe we see billings up to roughly 340 million versus 250 million prior year. Not a new tax. In fact, we've increased the threshold on real property tax to give more relief to the smaller, lower end property owners. I think we increased it from 250 to 300. But the reality is that we are billing more because we're being more prudent in terms of the overall collection of new taxes. I think, there is a maxim of rendering to Caesar what is due to Caesar, etc. And I don't say so flippantly. I just say that large real property tax owners are being asked to pay their share. We increased the departure taxes, and we will always get complaints on increasing taxes. So on the one hand, we want to maximize the benefit from the tourism industry. On the other hand, people say we tax too much.
Yeah.
So I think there is a balance to be had. We do, in our view, what is in the best interest of the Bahamian people.
Absolutely.
And I believe we're doing that. We're striking the balance. We're generating a lot of positives. We are showing the Bahamian people what we're actually doing with their money. And I think that's one of the things that Bahamian people like to see.
All right, but folks are very concerned about fees, and every few months or when the new budget comes around, we hear about the fees going up here and there, and often we've seen where the government's had to roll it back or at least postpone the implementation of the fee. Is there not enough consultation going on with industry partners before these things are announced or put in place?
Well, let me answer that two ways. Firstly, let me say that a lot of the new taxes, for example, departure tax, for example, the new corporate minimum tax that's going to generate roughly $140 million in future years, the new business license tax on international business companies, all impact non-Bahamians in large measure. So we're seeking to create a transparent but a balanced tax program where we ensure that people who are benefiting from the Bahamas, from our system or structure, from the beauty of our environment, are paying a little bit more. So that's what we sought to do in the budget process. But, would we like to see less tax? Absolutely. But I think it's important to point out that government services, roads, schools, docks, airports, and social services, there are many roofs that still need to be repaired after the various hurricanes in places like Grand Bahama and Abaco. We're still recovering from many of the things that beset us in prior years. We inherited an economy that had not been progressing very well from the former administration. We had the occasion to rebuild and recover, as we said we would do in our blueprint for change. And I think we're doing just that.
Yeah. All right. So I think a lot of people will appreciate that. And you say it's non-Bahamians, but that group, they're very vocal. Are you afraid that this will bring more bad publicity to the country, or that it will scare off international business and investors?
We have attracted more than $8 billion of new foreign direct investments to the country. When we implemented the new cruise taxes, meetings with the cruise lines, and I had the awesome responsibility of saying to them that we need you to pay your share. We are providing a proximity to the U.S. We're providing a magnificent environment for you and your clients to enjoy. We must continue to protect our environment. And this is why we implemented the sustainability levy. We indicated to them that we are partners in this business, and it has to be a win-win. The Bahamian people must benefit as a result of the partnership Otherwise, we will have to recalibrate that partnership. So I think, when there's dialogue, we get the best outcome. You asked earlier about reversing fees, etc. Really, it demonstrates the compassion of Prime Minister Davis, who is the Minister of Finance. We implemented maritime fees with respect to the boating registration. We listened to the fishermen and particularly small boat owners who use those boats in the Exuma Key for transportation. We took another look at them, and we thought that we would adjust them to not hamstring or hurt the average Bahamian. So do we go out in advance and ask the taxpayer whether they want to pay more taxes? Absolutely not. What we try to do is to provide a balanced approach. We try to consult discreetly with the various stakeholders, like the Chamber of Commerce, for example, and we try to get the right balance, as the case might be.
All right, so I mean, I hear you. People will say that's flip-flopping, though. And that had there been wider consultation, we wouldn't have this back and forth and confusion. What would you say to folks who are showing, say that's wishy-washiness?
Yeah, mostly those are political arguments. And the people making those arguments must always be reminded of how the former administration changed the tax program for the rich when the residents of one of the gated communities. We are looking to make adjustments that benefit the poor, and we make no excuses for this. The reality is that with respect to the boating fees, we conceded that it was a hike that happened too much too soon. We listened. We were compassionate. We demonstrated to the Bahamian people that it was not our intent to hurt them, but simply we were pursuing additional revenue measures. We made the adjustment. We, I believe, have effectively explained it to the Bahamian people, and we seek to continue the growth of our economy. So I like to focus on the positive, Dwight. I like to talk about the growth in the economy. We're still showing a 4% growth, whilst many of our neighbors in larger countries are showing much less, in the 1.4% range in the USA, for example. I like to focus on tourism, where we're seeing massive growth to the tune of 40% growth year over year. We're seeing a massive in just years record-setting year, 9.6 million tourists coming to the Bahamas. I like to focus on the foreign direct investments that we're seeing, more than $8 billion. I like to focus on all of the work being done by my colleague, Minister of Works, improving infrastructure, spending, I believe, $95 million on roadworks in New Providence, and building roads in Eleuthera and Exuma. I like to talk about the Family Island Renaissance programs for the rebuilding of airports. I like to talk about the empowerment opportunities for Bahamians, where we're spending some of that tax money to create incubation centers so that young Bahamians can get into business and improve their quality of life. So we have a great country. God's been good to us, and we must be grateful and thankful for all of the blessings that He has given us.
I want to get to tourism in just a bit. Deandra has a question for you, then I have another one, then we'll get to tourism. Sure.
I have many questions. Which one should I start with?
Okay. Well, start.
Okay, so again, sorry, I think my perspective always comes from being a family islander myself. So you talked about, spreading around the improvement of infrastructure and processes. I'm just wondering, how deep are we getting with sharing the improvements to our family islands? Because I heard you mention roadworks improvement on, say, Exuma, for instance, but there are other islands throughout the country that have a pothole every few feet. You spoke about the Family Island Renaissance program with trying to, improve our airports, where some of our islands have had airports that have never, ever even seen renovation. There are islands that do not even have an airport. But before you answer that part, I'm wondering also about the suggestions from, say, the IMF on what they've said before, such as streamlining our public service, where we're seeing so many thousands of dollars that our country has to come up with per month to pay, the majority employer inside our country with those employees that we do have in the public service. And my third...
Wait, let him answer and then we'll come to that one. That's quite a bit there.
Let me take the last one first.
Okay.
We believe by growing the economy, we will see some shifting of employees from the public sector to the private sector. We provide for our people. We're not putting in place any austerity measures in terms of laying off government employees. It's not the right thing to do if that's what the suggestion was. I haven't seen it myself. But as we grow the economy, as we get more of the investments on stream, unemployment will continue to decline. More opportunities will continue to rear its head in the private sector, and we ought to see perhaps an adjustment in the overall balance between government workers versus private workers. So I'm looking forward to the growth that we're seeing in the overall economy. We, from time to time, are seeing government employees leave the service to go to the private sector, and that's a good thing by and large. You asked about family islands. I
will always ask about family islands.
And so will I. I'll always be delighted to talk about it because, you may or may not know, I hail from Forbes Hill, Little Exuma, population 40,
who doesn't know that?
46, right?
You wrote a book about it.
Absolutely. Prime Minister Davis hails from Old Bight, Cat Island. The minister is from North Eleuthera.
And I visited all of those islands, and I've seen the infrastructure that's in need of repair.
And it's not possible to get enough tax dollars to improve all of these infrastructure in 1 year. So on the one hand, we complain about the tax level, rightfully, and on the other hand, we want spending in infrastructure. Let me tell you what's being done in addition to what's being done in New Providence, in addition to what's being done in Exuma. We're building roads in Long Island. We're building roads in Eleuthera. We're building roads in South Andros as well as North Andros. Minister responsible for works has laid out a pretty extensive schedule of the works being done in the various islands across the Bahamas.
If I could, just for the essence of time, is there anything beyond roadworks?
Well, there's airports. We're working on airports.
Outside of transport.
We're building airports all across the country. This is aviation. This is a necessary infrastructure. We spent $5 million in Governor's Harbor. We built a new terminal in Ragged Island.
But then when you have those islands that do not actually receive air travel as frequently, then really is it benefiting the population on that island? When we're seeing islands in the south that are receiving less flights per day or sharing flights.
Let's look at Ragged Island, for example. Ragged Island is an island with no scheduled service. Mm-hmm. They had a small terminal. It was devastated during Hurricane Irma. Mm-hmm. The first thing we did in the first 3 months in office, we built a new terminal. We invest in our family islands because it is a human right of all Bahamians to have the quality of infrastructure and utilities and services that we have in Nassau and Grand Bahama. Will Rumpke or Ragged Island or Acklands or Crooked Island ever be able to afford or pay for itself a power plant? Probably not. So this is why we are our brother's keepers. This is why we use revenues generated in places like Exuma and Eleuthera and Nassau for the benefit of all the islands all across the family of islands.
Okay, and I want to go forward before Dwight goes on to his listing. You were speaking earlier about how public consultations are not necessary per se, but you would consult certain stakeholders such as the chamber. Is it possible to have those consultations made public so at least the population of our country can actually understand a bit better about the different perspectives involved in these different discussions, as opposed to perhaps what happened with the conversations with the boat owners, it happening in retrospect?
The government consults broadly and widely, informally and informally. But if you ask any taxpayer whether they want to pay more taxes, the answer is going to be a resounding no.
Well, if the information doesn't exist, sir.
By and large. Let me finish the answer to your question respectfully. So what we are saying is, when the government lay out its tax package, the type of balance to take care of the needs of the community, to take care of the infrastructural needs that we desire, but at the same time not to overburden any particular segment of the economy or any specific demographic. We have a large tax unit now that's focusing on tax revenues or real property taxes over $5 million in arrears, etc. That's focused on the big boys, the big players. And we are able to make adjustments for small players like small boat owners because we strike the balance in terms of collecting taxes from the rich. Mm-hmm. So in effect, we want to ensure that everyone pays their fair share.
Okay, so speaking of the rich, this is an interesting report from CNBC. The top 100 luxury real estate markets in the world saw a 3% price increase in 2023. But in the Bahamas, the price growth was 16%, making it the third best performing luxury real estate market in the world. That sounds wonderful. The average Bahamian person, are we making ourselves just a playground for the rich? What does this mean for the rest of us?
I think the cost of living overall in the Bahamas has been a concern for our government, and Prime Minister Davis in particular has spoken about it on countless occasions. We see international shocks, for example, the war in Ukraine that impact the price of oil and food. And we saw inflation in 2022 in the region of 7%. The good news is inflation is now just under 3%, so it's moving in the right direction. All of these things impact the overall cost of living for the average Bahamian. Mm-hmm. You asked about the price of land.
Yeah.
We believe that land is a great way to create wealth. We have 700 islands. We have 16 major destinations that we promote. There are amazing opportunities in the family of islands. There are significant new developments going on in the family islands. There are jobs in the family islands. We're seeing the lowering of the unemployment rate in Grand Bahama and Eleuthera, and there's full employment in Abaco. There's full employment in Exuma. Of affordable land in all of these islands. Yes, in Nassau, Paradise Island, the land is particularly scarce. Regrettably, God's not making any more right now. But the reality is that given the high demand and given the high development, those prices are being driven up. But I encourage Bahamians to look to the family islands for opportunities. I encourage people like you who are well-to-do to go and build go and build a second home in the family islands. And I encourage people, descendants living in Nassau, Grand Bahama, or abroad, to come back home, go to the family islands, build a home, buy property for you and your children right now.
But the perception is that it's still unattainable, though. What can be done to, if that's not the case, to get the right message out?
In terms of home ownership, we as an administration have done. My colleague Jobette Colby Davis have built many new subdivisions. Minister Keith Bell is continuing that work, and he is creating new housing opportunities for Bahamians. We have a rent-to-own program. We are building houses where the former administration built none, and we believe this is a step in the right direction to home ownership. We believe home ownership is a right of all Bahamians, and regrettably there is a shortage at the moment, and we're doing something about it. Stay tuned for all of the new developments, not just in Nassau, but in Family Islands as well, in Grand Bahama, Exuma, Eleuthera. There's a real shortage of housing in Abaco because of the growth of the economy. So we expect government programs will continue to kick in to help with the issue of home ownership all across the board.
All right, so I know you have to go to the House this morning. We want to get tourism in there, definitely. The numbers are looking amazing, but people are still concerned about what's really happening, especially when it comes to cruise numbers. Are those folks really coming onto the islands and spending money here? What's really
Let's
happening?
look at the positive. 9.6 million arrivals in January, 13% up over past year overall, and 8% arrivals by air. Persons who arrive by air live at hotels, Airbnbs, etc. They spend big money. Rates at hotels have gone up fairly significantly, and we also know that occupancy is very, very, very strong. All of the major hotels for February, March are running close to 100%. So they're spending money, we're making money. The question of cruise passengers, we are continuing to see how we can get all of our guests to spend more. But if you look at the Nassau Cruise Port arrivals, some days we have as high as 25,000 a day that come off the ship, that arrive into Nassau Cruise Port. We are seeking to get more and more of them to come off the ship. They will come off. They will spend more if we create more opportunities for them. The Nassau Cruise Port itself has created many authentically Bahamian stores inside the Nassau Cruise Port. They're doing exceptionally well based on what I hear. Ordinary Bahamians own and operate these incubation centers on Bay Street, in Nassau and Grand Bahama and Exuma to ensure more authentically Bahamian goods and services. We need more experiences. We need more tour operators to get involved. We have a large number of guests walking to Goodman's Bay every day. Taking taxis to Goodman's Bay, walking to Junkanoo Beach every day. Each time a taxi is taken to the beach, people are making money. We're hoping to be able to dramatically increase, though, the spend of our cruise visitors. So there's more work to be done.
We have folks calling in weekly saying that they want to do these things that you're talking about, but the red tape, the bureaucracy is so intense that they find it frustrating and challenging. What are we doing with that?
Well, let me just tell you what the government is doing. We're bringing together all of the stakeholders. We're having an entrepreneurial expo where we bring all the players together in the same room. We have the SBDC. We now have the Tourism Development Corporation that's doing amazing work in the tourism related entities, businesses. We'll be offering grants. We'll be offering technical assistance. We'll be working along with the SBDC to offer funding and loans. We're giving free ideas to everyone. We have coordinated partnerships with cruise lines so that individuals who could not afford insurances, for example, can now TDC. Listen, we have amazing support available for small and medium-sized businesses, and it's important that we get the word out as to what's available, where to go, etc. Bahamas Development Bank has gotten $30 million of new funding recently through a facility with the Afri-Exim Bank. We have all of the arms of government working together to make it easier, to facilitate business possibilities. The Tourism Development Corporation wants to see more tours. We're inviting people to come and speak with us. We have trained, for example, more than 200 lifeguards so far. We have another cohort of 100. These are young people who want to work, who can now make good money being lifeguards on the public beaches or at the hotels or at the cruise private islands. These are real things. We are creating jobs for tourism ambassadors downtown and in the airports. We are creating the incubation. For example, there will be more than 10 Bahamian entrepreneurs present in that incubation center, 3 doors east of East Street on Bay Street. Authentically Bahamian goods and services. We're going to drive traffic there. We're going to give them rent-free space for at least 6 months. We're going to provide marketing support for the facility, but we're also going to provide marketing support for the individual entities. We want them to grow. We want them to get out of the incubation space, get new spaces. Hopefully some of the space in East Bay Street they will get in and have their own storefront. We want the small business to become medium-sized and the medium-sized to become big business. And then we want them to go regional and international as well. So we're going to provide tech support as well in terms of e-commerce to help to facilitate their growth. Online purchasing through our apps, etc. Advancing tech tourism as we've said we would do. I think there's significant opportunity in tourism. Yes, we have heard some complaints, particularly from straw vendors in some pockets in Paradise Island and Cable Beach, etc. We're doing more to direct traffic, drive traffic to these places. Listen, we have 25,000 tourists a day coming to Nassau Cruise Port. That's an incredible number. It's an incredible opportunity, and certainly it's a great start to getting to ensure that we continue to create product and experiences for our guests.
Is there a master plan for downtown Nassau, especially east of East Street, as you mentioned?
We've been at this for 30 years. There are several iterations of master plans for downtown. What we've determined that we are going to do is we're going to get some immediate quick wins. There is a plan for a boardwalk from all the way from Junkanoo Beach straight up to Paradise Island.
Right, the bridge. Mm-hmm.
That would be phenomenal, and I think we're going to get there. We see now a boardwalk from Senior Frogs to Junkanoo Beach.
What's been holding that up? Because it's been a long time coming.
Let me tell you what's triggered the resurgence of the Renaissance. It takes political will. Mm-hmm. It takes negotiation with stakeholders and partners to get them on board. It takes some government resources. The government in this budget allocated $1 million for beautification for downtown. It takes some innovation and some creativity. We have got a program for downtown where creative artists can come and participate. We're going to be where we have demolished some of the derelict buildings. We are going to be creating green spaces. That's opportunities again for Bahamians. That's places where tourists and locals can go and sit and eat. We are partnering with Tin Furl, that food market that we know that used to be at the Dundas and then on Gladstone Road. Mm-hmm. We have encouraged them to come to Bay Street. They should be there this summer. Again, that's opportunities for vendors in food trucks, maybe 10 or 15 of them, offering authentically Bahamian cuisine. Vendors making money opportunities on Bay Street. Also, it's an opportunity for our guests to go and relax and enjoy Bahamian delights. So I think this is the beginning of what we're seeing in terms of the renaissance of Bay Street.
Is there a timeline?
People tell me the timeline is right now. People tell me it's smelling cleaner, it's looking fresher. The garbage is more contained. We're working to manage the rodents and the stray dogs. There's a lot of work going on downtown right now. So you asked about timeline. I think if you take a drive down and you do some photos now, you will see a progressive movement for the enhancement of downtown. We want to bring back that charm that we had before. The reality is it's going to take some partnerships with those, encouraging them to redo their storefronts, to paint their buildings. And I commend the property owners who've been very responsive. So this is active work. We have short, medium, and long-term plans for downtown Nassau.
All right. The last time I spoke to you on the show, we were talking about the Grand Grand Lucayan. You're very positive about that, but it's been a while. What is happening there? You said there was a lot of interest, but what can you tell us?
A lot of great things happening for Grand Bahama. There's still a lot of interest in the Grand Lucayan Resort. We're starting demolition this week at the old airport terminal. We're building a new airport there. We have $2 billion of new investments. They come over a period of time. They're shoveling the ground right now at Carnival, Celebration Key. Hundreds of Bahamians employed, small contractors, large contractors, medium-sized contractors. So yes, they're going to be finished in 2025, but that work is underway right now. In order to drive the economy of Grand Bahama, take several investments. So the Grand Lucayan is one component, and I'm happy to see levels are up over last year. We continue to employ 200 people. We continue to provide packages with Bahamas Air from Raleigh, North Carolina, and elsewhere with our stakeholder partners. We're bringing people to the island. It's the fastest growing island by airlift. We're seeing cruise passengers come in every day. We have big plans with Carnival and Royal Caribbean for new investments. We have Doctors Hospital, for example, and CG Atlantic, who are building new properties. So it's more than foreign direct investors. We have local investors as well, investing in the economy of Grand Bahama. We hear stories of not being able to find employees in Grand Bahama. That's new. So we're going in the right direction. And it's important that whilst the Grand Lucayan is an important component, it's important for me to point out that all of these pieces work together. We continue to have very, very, very strong interest. Those are progressing well, and we want to make sure that we are deliberate in the approach, and we want to make sure we get the right partner. One of the problems in Grand Bahama right now is that we need more hotel rooms in order to continue the growth, and therefore we are working steadfastly and steadily in that direction.
So there's nothing more you can say? Have we whittled it down to a certain number with the Grand Lucayan?
We got $2 billion of new investments in Grand Bahama. By 2025, we're going to be opening 2 new pairs at the Celebration Key, at the Carnival. We're going to be employing thousands of Bahamians. We're going to be creating hundreds of entrepreneurs. We're building a new port at the Freeport Harbor. By 2027, we will have 4 new pairs at Carnival. We are projecting to have 5.5 million new arrivals in Grand Bahama. By 2027, 2028, we're going to have 6 million new arrivals in Grand Bahama. We're planning for the future, Dwight. And
so the folks listening are saying that this is a red flag that you're not answering the question.
No.
What do you say?
No. Listen to me. I've answered the question. I'm now saying to you that we must continue to focus on all of the positives that's happening for Grand Bahama. I've said that we have very strong interest in the Grand Lucayan Resort. I've said that we are continuing to operate the resort, hiring 200 people. I've said that we continue to increase the occupancy levels at Grand Lucayan Resort. we continue to bring guests from all across the world who stay here, who go away. We're not sitting on our hands. We're working diligently. We're a club. We continue to attract hundreds of guests who come to see the Grand Lucayan Resort every day. So if you want me to tell you more about the negotiation that's underway with the Grand Lucayan Resort, I won't do that today. But what I will tell you is that we're working in the best interest of the Bahamian people. We continue to build and grow the resort, and we continue the multiplicity of positive things for the island of Grand Bahama. I like to focus on the positives when it comes to Grand Bahama because they've struggled so long. They've had many hurricanes. They suffered from Hurricane Dorian, etc. So finally, some great news for Grand Bahama, and forgive me if I won't allow anyone to suppress that.
No problem. 40 seconds left to tell me. We see what our friends over in South Florida are doing with spring break. They're trying to control the rowdy crowds. What are we looking at with spring break? Is it likely that those folks who might have wanted that might be trying to come here? And what type of business are we doing with spring break?
Our spring break numbers are very, very strong. Squaremount, one of the largest agency and insurance sales entity. I've rated the Bahamas as the number one spot for spring break in the world, beating out large destinations like Italy and Spain and Orlando and Mexico. So number one in the world. We're winning awards as being a premier global destination for spring break, and otherwise for that matter. I mentioned earlier that we're running 100% occupancy at our major resorts in Nassau. We're showing strong growth all across the islands of the Bahamas. So we are doing exceptionally well in terms of the growth of tourism in all angles all across the islands. It is important that we improve visitor spend, particularly from our cruise guests. We mentioned earlier that we're doing something about it. We're providing support for vendors and tour operators. We're building incubation centers. We're using technology. We've created a smart city downtown in the port area between Paradise Island and Arawak Key to ensure that we're able to push word out as there is. I'm pleased. There's more work to be done. Our administration has more work to be done. But there are a lot of positives that we can talk about. And we continue to do our best for the Bahamian people. We're delighted to have this opportunity to be able to serve. I want the Bahamian people to understand that when they cry, we hear those cries. And we hope that we'll be able to continue to create opportunities for all Bahamians. We will continue to work to improve healthcare for all, education, and empowerment. We believe the next level of growth and development for our country is to ensure the creation of wealth for our people. And we believe the best way to do this is through entrepreneurship. And we're working diligently on all cylinders with all of the arms of government to cause this to happen so that are participating actively in the economy. So yes, unemployment is down at its lowest levels in quite some time. But we also want to create entrepreneurial opportunities for Bahamians as well.
Chester Cooper, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Always appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Wish we had more time.
Yes, definitely. We've got to do it again. All right.
My pleasure.
We'll get you to the House of Assembly, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, Deandra Curry, that is it for us today.
Yes, very active show.
Yeah, it's great. Great having all of you with us. Take care. And Morning Men Business and Morning Men brought to you in part by Gia Pierre's wonderful and must-see event that is backed by popular demand. It is March On, the story of us, backed by popular demand at the University of the Bahamas Performing Arts Center, March 16th and 17th. Tickets are available at Gorgeous Essentials in the Mall Marathon. Give them a call, 818-1542 for more information about tickets. Again, that's Gia Pierre's March On at the University of the Bahamas Performing Arts Center, March 16th and 17th. And pick up today's Guardian Business section for the latest in business news. And Morning Blend Business brought to you in part by CFAL. And tune in to CFAL Talks tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, Deandra, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Happy to be here. What a way to kick off the birthday celebration.
Hey, enjoy your birthday. And you're going to be away from us for a little bit.
Yeah.
Although we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Right? Enjoy. Tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. On the clock next.